Alrighty everyone, welcome back. We are just days away from the official release of Indy 5, The Dial of Destiny. A lot of fans remain very skeptical about this movie, especially after even the Hollywood critics, people that you would think would be more lenient about this movie in comparison to the reviewers over in France after the Cannes Film Festival. We've had a lot of problems arising out of this movie, especially with the negative press, and it's only making things worse for Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video for future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And without further ado, let's get right into the subject. Now, one thing about Harrison Ford is that he has been endlessly promoting this film alongside people like Steven Spielberg, Kathleen Kennedy, James Mangold, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and everybody else on board of this film that went into the creation of it all. But we also have a lot of things going on with Bob Iger. Now, we know that Bob Iger is in a constant shakeup between himself, the executives, as well as the board, and it's not looking good for him as a CEO, especially after what happened with everything related to the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel that shut down, and is about to shut down, by the way, by this September. Now, moving past all of this, what's really intriguing about everything that lies with Harrison Ford is that he's been a little bit more honest lately, and I think it is because he's beginning to come to the realization, and he's letting it really kind of sink in, that there's a lot of fans that are just not happy with this movie, especially after all the confirmed leaks and spoilers, etc., that is working in conjunction with the reviewers out there. However, on top of this, alright, with Harrison Ford beginning to promote Indy 5 days before its release, he recently went on to unveil some very concerning details about the making of the film and more. Ford went on to deliver the following to fans. Well, when we were going over how much screen time we wanted to dedicate to younger Indiana Jones, through the de-aging tech stuff they used with archived footage, we originally wanted to have multiple big important scenes to be scattered throughout the entire film to create a big backstory for younger Indy's life. This was something myself and Mangold at one point agreed on along with Steven, but both Kathy and others felt it wasn't the right road to go. She felt it was overdoing it at one point, and that we had to give it less is more treatment, sort of like what they did with some of the Star Wars characters in that franchise. The thing that bothered me the most was how we had all these wonderful ideas that were really going to stand as the peak of the movie. Even one of our endings had much to do with the use of this technology that was going to focus on younger Indy, but Kathy really insisted we only use de-aged Indy at a bare minimum. Now guys, let me pause here for a second. Now, basically what Ford is saying here, and what he is confirming to us, the fans, is that there were going to be a lot of scenes involving younger Indiana Jones through the archived footage, through the de-aging technology, etc. by ILM. We were going to have a lot more scenes of that in Indy 5, and you know what? That would have made the film, I think, a lot more doable, because it's not a huge spoiler, but the first 20 minutes of this film, it's all about the de-aging stuff. That's where you're going to get younger Indiana Jones. That is the big bait and switch moment where it kind of drags you in. It's like a dangling of the carrot, where you are just sucked in. It feels like a normal Indiana Jones movie. Feels like we're back, with the Last Crusade level success. And then it just takes a nosedive. That's what everyone is saying. That's what I've heard as well from a lot of movie critics out there that saw the film, and it just takes a big nosedive right after that first 20 minutes. So that is exactly what Ford is really relating to right now, or what he's referring to, I should say, is that basically it was all Kathleen Kennedy by using that down to a bare minimum. So we were supposed to get a lot more younger Indiana Jones adventures in the forms of flashbacks, and also in other ways, using the dial, of course, specifically, that was going to really elaborate something, quite expansive and successful and surprising. So next up, Alright, he goes on to elaborate, she didn't want to focus too much away from Helena. This was her goal. She wanted to focus on the newer characters and to find a way to expand both Helena and Teddy's story. So we created a backstory for them instead of following up with Indy's past life that dealt with his younger years, which was really disappointing to me because I love Indy a lot more than my Han Solo role, because I can relate to him more since he's a character based in the real world, sort of. And I loved how Spielberg and George really brought him into this world successfully. It was just a shame to see the use of this amazing technology used at a bare minimum, with a strict budget also, where it could have been used as a way to really boost the engagement of this film. So, again, Harrison is putting it out there that there were moments where this movie was going to have a lot more adventures of the Indiana Jones that we all know and love, that we all grew up with, right? Whether you grew up with the movies or not, doesn't matter. Everybody loves the original three, and as far as I'm concerned, guys, there are only 3 Indiana Jones movies, let's be real, alright? And if I were Harrison Ford, I would have never signed up for this at that age of 80, especially when you've hit well past your peak as far as your career goes. I would have been more concerned about my legacy rather than a paycheck, 100%. Because at that age, your legacy is what counts. Yes, we know he's coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Red Hulk. Maybe he's gonna nail that role, maybe it's not gonna work, who knows? But I would have rathered kept my legacy alive and well with the Indiana Jones franchise. I wouldn't have made a bomb or a stinker at the very end of the franchise, serving as the final film. What a depressing way to send off the character, because the final movie leaves the character in shambles. He's a broken man for the most part of this film. We've talked about this. It is confirmed. Basically, Indiana Jones is getting the Luke Skywalker Last Jedi treatment. He's a broken man. He lost everything. He's a drunk. These types of things are really presented in the Dial of Destiny. That's basically his personality. And so, yeah, I mean, we have Helena Jones pretty much serving as the fixer-upper. She comes in to kind of bring him back on his feet. Very similar to what Rey attempted to do in The Last Jedi, and what she basically did do, I guess you could say, in The Last Jedi. It really is almost like a copy and paste, and that's something that I just do not approve of, and something that I just do not respect, even from James Mangold, Steven Spielberg, and even for Harrison Ford. As much as I love Harrison Ford, guys, let me be honest, I really am very upset over the fact that he agreed to this thing, knowing well what Lucasfilm was going to do. He very much knew what they were going to do, without a doubt. Because there's no excuse. He most certainly saw what they did with Luke. He most certainly saw the fan backlash. He must have known what was coming. So a lot of it could very well be pinned on him too. So overall, guys, I mean, I would love to hear your take on this below in the comments. What do you think about Kathy Kennedy getting involved in sabotaging all of those young Indiana Jones scenes? And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.